Dear students and candidates, thank you for being here. Tonight, we are celebrating democracy by having the annual executive candidate debates that will hopefully guide you all in making a decision for whom you're going to vote for the next student council executives. My name is Alyssa Hollywood, and I will be co-hosting this event with our moderator, Professor Elton Beckett. Professor Beckett will lead this debate and will outline the rules and times that all candidates must follow. If time allows, there will be an opportunity for audience members to ask their questions. I will now pass the virtual stage to Professor Beckett to continue with the program.
Thank you, Alyssa. Welcome, candidates and guests. It's a pleasure to be with you and to moderate this event. The rules are simple. Each candidate will have 1 minute and 15 seconds for opening statements and the same amount of time for closing statements. For questions, each candidate would have 2 minutes to answer. Should you want to offer a rebuttal, you will have 1 minute to do so. You must raise your hand to offer a rebuttal. Time will be allocated after all candidates have spoken. Alyssa will use the raise hand feature and chat on Zoom as a notification that you have 15 seconds left to wrap up. Once your time is ended, we will move on to the next candidate. We thank you all for being here and wish all the candidates the best of luck. We'll now begin with opening statements from our treasurer candidate, Savannah Smith. You have 1 minute and 15 seconds.
Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. I'm glad to be here. I am running for re-election to be treasurer again. And yeah, so I'll be just stating the reasons why and everything within the questions that are asked, but I'm just glad to be here and I can't wait for you guys to hear what I have to say.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Yarrick. Are you here?
Hello?
Okay, great. Next, we'll hear from Vice President candidate Yarrick Munoz. Sorry. You have 1 minute and 15 seconds.
Hi, hello. First of all, thank you everyone for being here. I want to apologize for the inconvenience. I have a 4 p.m. class, but I'm running for VP because first of all, I think that John Jay is a great place, and I want to be able to extend the culture wise and have more of a community life at John Jay if possible with the allocated funds. Please. I'm so sorry. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And next we'll hear from our candidates for president, starting with Aisha.
Hey everyone, my name is Aisha. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate the opportunity to come here and introduce myself. So I have been a part of student council for the past 3 years in various roles. So my first role was as freshman representative, my second role was as vice president, and my third role was as chief of staff to the secretary. So I have served in all of these roles over the past 3 years, and I've worked my way up to this position. And I really hope that you guys can see from my past experience that I am qualified to take on this role. I really hope to continue in the student advocacy that I've been doing over the past 3 years. And I really hope that, I'll be able to make the changes that all of the students that I've spoken to want me to make based on the conversations that I've had. Some things that I'm really, really passionate about is course revisions and making a permanent wudu, which is a ablution room for Muslim students. And another thing is that we already accomplished in the past 3 years is creating a interfaith prayer room. So yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Aisha. Jeff?
Hi, everyone. My name is Jeff Matthew. I just really want to thank everyone for being here today. And I'm running for the student council role for presidency. The reason I want to run the role for student council presidency is because I feel that being a leader is showing how I can be a leader. For example, being president, that demonstrates being a leader because you want to show initiative, you want to take action. Want to show these skills such as communication, leadership, all these types of skills, just to show that you truly care about us, I want to work with us because we're a team. All of our John Jay students, we make up John Jay. So that's why I would like to be your president for student council.
Thank you. Thank you for your opening statements. We'll continue to our first round of questions for the candidates. And I just want to remind you that you have 2 minutes to answer the question and 1 minute to offer a rebuttal to another candidate's answer. First, we will have a question for the candidates for president. And we'll start with Jeff. The first question is, John Jay is perhaps the most diverse student body at all of CUNY colleges. And as a student council president, you will be leading the student body representing the college. How will you ensure that all voices, regardless of their status, gender, sexual orientation, political affiliation, etc., will be represented in your administration?
So as someone who represents the minority, also known as the South Asian community, I represent the 12% in John Jay. Although we have a very high diverse Hispanic community, which is 44%, the African American community with 20%, the white community who is 21%, and let's not forget the other community, the Native Americans, all these other types of communities. The way I see it is I want to show as a minority, I want to work with everyone saying, how can I be an advocate for you? How can I listen to you? How can I be an open-minded person to advocate for your voices? Because your voices is what matters at the end of the day. Without your say, there's no John Jay. We go to a liberal school. With the liberal school, we also have, all of us have a say, just like I stated previously. So the way I see it, we have to use our voices. And with me as your president, I can definitely change that.
Thank you. Aisha.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Certainly. John Jay is perhaps the most diverse student body in all of CUNY colleges. And as student council president, you will be leading the student body representing the college. How will you ensure that all voices, regardless of their status, gender, sexual orientation, political affiliation, etc., will be represented in your administration?
All right, so I just want to first start off by saying that in the past, being on student council, we have used surveys as tools to reach out to various communities. We've also created more specific roles. For example, this past year, there was multiple liaison positions created for I think it was the LGBTQ plus community liaison that was created, and the veterans. There's all sorts of roles that are continuously being made to provide opportunities for these students to share their ideas and tell us what that community specifically needs. So I want to continue in doing that. And I also personally am from a few different communities. I'm South Asian as well, like Jeff, and I'm from just my background is very diverse as well. So I definitely feel like I can connect with students on that level where I can have these conversations with students and they can feel comfortable speaking to me. And if not, then they also have that survey forum. And also my personal email and my Instagrams are all open to all students. I'm constantly trying to have conversations about things with various students, like walking around, tabling, and also through my club that I'm a part of, Students for Justice in Palestine. We also do a lot of advocacy. So we work with a lot of different minorities and we talk about advocating for Palestine. So yeah.
Okay, thank you. The next question is for our vice presidential candidate, Yorick Munoz. As student council vice president, you often serve in a supportive role to the president. How do you plan on creating a positive working relationship with the president while ensuring effective communication in order to properly represent the student body?
Hello, thank you. I would obviously have to be in constant contact with the president even if the matter is official or unofficial business. I would establish first a good communication line with the president, that being text, Instagram, whatever. And off of that, we would work with our problems one-on-one, I feel, or with our chief of staffs, or with everyone else on the e-board. that could possibly help us with this task. I feel like weekly meetings would have to be arranged with the president. So there's a constant flow of information between us.
Thank you. The next question is for our candidate for treasurer, Savannah Smith. As student council treasurer, you will serve as the chief financial officer. How will you ensure clear communication of financial information between the student council and the college community?
I would ensure that everybody is open to knowing the financial standing in which we're in. I feel like to close that off would be something that wouldn't be right, especially to members within council and even people without. So what I've been doing in the position that I've been in during this time is reaching out to people and asking them, what are the ideas? What are the initiatives that they want to do? And I'll sit down with them and tell them, here's the funds and the lines that we have to do what you want to do. And what I tell them is I guide them in terms of the paperwork that they need to do to fill out, the money that they can have allocated towards that. And so it's just about having that transparency and letting people know, hey, here are the funds. Give me your ideas and let's work with it. So I feel like that's like the biggest thing in terms of answering the question is just transparency and communication and just letting people know what's there, what do they want to do with it, and then everybody just working collectively together.
Okay, thank you. And with that, we end round one and we move on to round two. The first question is again for the treasurer. If you could change one thing about student council, regardless of feasibility, what would you change? Savannah?
If I could change one thing about student council, I guess I would say the culture. And what I mean by this is that I feel like in student council, I feel like we need to find a better way, at least in the position that I've been in now, is to be able to reach out to the student body more and let them know that we're there for them. I feel like as council members, we're already consumed with a lot of the schoolwork that we have to do, along with council work that's given to us in the positions that we're in. So I feel like something that council can work on and that I wish that council can get to a place to is being able to also be there to do what we do and to actually serve people outside of council as well. So I guess the culture of just letting people know here's space for you as well. Maybe set up like a suggestion box or something that council can do to just really push to reach out to the outer school community more than just the members within council, and also creating a more better and wholesome community within council as well.
Thank you. And the next question is for the candidates for president. If elected as president, how do you reassure students that all your decisions will benefit them? And how transparent will you be to students? And we'll ask Aisha to answer that first, please.
So I would like to say that first, making these decisions, obviously, I would like to, on council, we have our student representatives who represent the class. So for freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors, graduate representatives, and more. So I would have open lines of communications besides the student council meetings, which is when the topics are voted on. I would have an open line of communication with all representatives. And I would ask the student body to reach out to those representatives and let them know their concerns, let them know their wants. And I would do this through student council's Instagram and also the personal Instagrams of each representative cohorts. So again, I'm going to reflect back to my time as vice president. During my vice president role, I was a chief outreach officer. So I served and I created a whole bunch of Instagrams for all the various cohorts so that there could be an open line of communication with the students and the council. So through doing that, I think that would be very beneficial in sending out these statements. I forgot what they're called. I believe they're called the State of the Student Council, which I have realized that haven't really been done the past year, but I know that before in my roles, I have seen it being sent out by the various presidents. I would make sure that those are completed well and early and on time and sent out to all students so that they are able to see exactly what changes we want to make, what changes are being made, and how they can be more involved.
Thank you. And same question, Jeff.
So the way I see it, with the as where I am now, I'm currently the sophomore representative for student council. Although age is just a number, the way I see it, since my freshman year at John Jay, I made this desire to have this connection with VP Kerr. With VP Kerr, I met with him on a twice month basis, and I voiced my opinion, saying, I want to work with you. I want to work with John Jay students. I want to change the way it is now, because I want to show that I care about you guys. Because all of us have a voice. With these voices, we can show what can we do to make John Jay better, with whether it's our religion, our gender, whether it's how we perceive life. Our voice is an opinion, and the way we see it, we have to go on about it as professional people. With the professionalism, we can accomplish many things to make John Jay a better place. And the way I can see as a transparency is with these connections, like such as VP Kerr. I want to voice those opinions and reflect on how I can work with the people such as VP Kerr, President Carol Mason, and all these important people that make up John Jay, because that's how we become more efficient as people in John Jay.
Thank you. This next question is for the vice presidential candidate, Yara. How do you plan on advocating for communities you don't identify with?
Thank you. I know that most of the communities in John Jay have set up clubs or other voices, have other ways to show their voices. For example, the Desi Society. Also, we also have, like Anisha said, that's the Palestinian club. I feel like we could send out our reps to go contact those clubs that have high volumes of people from other cultures or other places that we ourselves don't identify as, and maybe find what they say. How can we make the community better for them specifically? And you doing that, I feel like we can establish a better connection between the clubs itself and the other cultures that me, myself, or other people in council do not identify as.
Thank you. And with that, we go to our final round of questions. The first question is for our candidate for vice president. What is one goal you would like to accomplish if you are elected as vice president to help the student body?
Hi. Yeah, I would like to bring more life back to John Jay. I mentioned this when I was running. When you look at John Jay, sadly, I don't think there's enough events on campus because our campus life is mostly dead. I would like to reach out to the other clubs and see if there's any way we could set up events with them, or just information sites, or just establish more of a connection with John Jay and all of his students, because I feel like right now we're very closed off the way John Jay has been, at least in these this year past that I've seen it. It's very closed off, and the events are pretty secured and small and not really announced correctly. I feel like if we were to host more events, have more outreach between the community, I feel like it would significantly improve John Jay.
Thank you. And the next question is for treasurer. What is one goal you would like to accomplish if you are elected as treasurer to help the student body?
So as treasurer, I would love to be able to, like Yurik mentioned, bring more life back to the school through knowing the funds that we have, and me being able to oversee that, know what's feasible to be able to happen and to make that happen and push for that to happen. But also another big part of it, and which was also stated in my platform, is my advocacy towards the disabled community here at John Jay, which doesn't get a lot of attention. You know, we have the Office of Accessibility Services, and I've gracefully been able to build a relationship with the director and the assistant director as well. But I feel like there's more that can be done for the disabled community past accommodations, like social events where everybody can come together, ways that even faculty and staff can be able to sit down and talk to students within the disabled community as well. So yeah, that would be a really big initiative of mine, is to push for more social and more acceptance and just more advocacy towards the disabled community here, and also bring more life to John Jay.
Thank you. And the next question is for the candidates for president. What is one goal you would like to accomplish if you were elected as president to help the student body? And we'll start this with Jeff.
So if elected as student council president, my goal is to make John Jay a more open event, in the sense of creating more events. What I've seen from my past experience on student council is there wasn't much events, in the sense of, although this semester was very hectic and last semester, I want to change that. I want to show that John Jay students, I want to listen to what kind of events you want to listen to, because at the end of the day, that's what you guys want. That's how that's how we get more people in attendance, get more people to understand who we are as people, and possibly make friendships, because at the end of the day, we're a commuting school. We want to build these types of friendships as for future connection, because connections are very important. That shows how it can lead on to your future life and just make you a better person.
Thank you. And Aisha, the same question.
So there's one thing that I first want to discuss, like Savannah said, regarding like disabilities and the Accessibility Services Center. So through my conversations with students, I've heard that a lot of the staff there sometimes is not very helpful, or they just don't feel like it's a nice and open environment for them to go. Piggybacking off of that, I know that personally, while I was petitioning to become to get on the ballot, I spoke to over 300 students, and out of those 300 students, only 10 of them had told me that the wellness center felt like a safe space to them. And this is something that I discussed in my platform as well. This is something that I personally am very, very passionate about, as before we had the prayer rooms established, that was the space that me as a Muslim student and my colleagues would have to go to pray 5 times a day. And unfortunately, the interactions that we had with the wellness center staff were very negative. We did not feel like they wanted to be in their roles and that they wanted to help us in any capacity. And so I hope to have mediations with the wellness center so that we can make some changes in the way that they interact with students, and so that it could be a safe space for everyone, the way it was actually meant to be. And another thing is that scholarships. So in the past, in student council, we have provided lots of scholarships. Even before the semester, we have always given back from the student council's budget to students in need, whether that was MetroCards, food funding. I know that emergency funding is present, but sometimes it's just not accessible to everyone, or everyone doesn't know about it. So those are 2 things that I really am very passionate about, and I hope to complete in my role as future president, hopefully.
Thank you. And now, since we have so much time left over, we can have questions from other attendees. Please send your questions to Alyssa on chat, and then we will ask them. So we'll take just a couple of minutes for our audience members to ask questions of whichever candidate you wish, or all of them.
Alyssa, has anyone sent you a question in the chat?
Not yet.
We'll give it a full minute at least.
It takes time. It takes time for people to type it out.
Sounds good. So just make sure.
I just added one.
Oh, okay. Let me fix mine. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out
I
this.
literally just submitted it. Don't worry.
Okay. Let me fix this though.
Would you like me to just ask it?
That would be fine, Makita.
Okay. All right, good evening.
Even though I'm breaking our formal agreement here. Go on.
I can wait and let her.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Go
All
ahead.
right. My question to you all is, how would you go about finding out what the needs are to students?
It's a good question. And why don't we start with the treasurer, but let me remind you that to answer in a minute and 15 seconds, please.
Yeah, so as I mentioned prior, making sure that, to have the voices heard of other students and not just within council, what we can do is probably create a suggestion box or just leave our door open for people to come in and promote that, because we do usually leave the door open, but a lot of people don't know that they can come here to seek resources and help or express their grievances. So just letting people know via social media and just when as e-board members and reps on walking through hallways and classes, like, hey, you can come by student council if you have anything, just even not like directing them to come here, but just asking them, hey, like, I'm in student council. What is something that you'd like to see happen here at the school? So a suggestion box, and also Aisha mentioned surveys as well. I feel like that's really good because it's self-reported, it's fast, it's efficient. We can get everything in and most likely, have that on a rolling basis and just see what the issues are and address them as time goes on.
Thank you. And we'll go from you to Yarrick, vice presidential candidate.
Hi, completely agree with Savannah with that. Surveys would be a great way, suggestion box, posting on the Instagram. But to add on to that, I believe also maybe hosting some sort of event at Hound Square would be really nice, because some people sadly, not sadly, but it's by their own choice, don't use social media or don't really check their John Jay emails because they just get spammed with a bunch of other stuff. I feel like hosting an event at Hound Square, maybe like giving away pizzas and having people just sit there, we could just talk about it. I feel like that'd also be a great way to sit down with the community, because Hound Square has a lot of foot traffic, I believe, because right there is where most of the classes are. I feel like it'd be the easiest way to get a lot of people's opinions and just so make sure that it's not like bias at all.
Thank you. And now we'll go to the presidential candidates and we'll start with Aisha.
So, like I mentioned before, surveys, I think they're very important, very efficient. Like Savannah mentioned, it's something that we've been using in my past roles. It's something that we've used and it's been very beneficial. Also, I think releasing statements like we have in the past regarding like certain issues and asking for help in advocacy, or even just like directing people to the I wouldn't say directly directing them to the student council office, like Savannah said. I would say more to either our email or our Instagram, some sort of social media, because of the fact that I do know from the conversations that I've had with students that the location of the student council office is kind of in a closeted place. It's in L2, it's all the way in the back of the hallway. So I do know that a lot of students say that sometimes they don't know how to find it, or they just feel like it's in a place that not a lot of people go to. So I do think that, either directing them to our Instagram or even holding tabling sessions. I think that would be very important and a beautiful addition to all of our tactics is having a tabling session in the beginning of the semester or once a month even.
Thank you. And Jeff?
So I just want to say, just to piggyback on everyone's ideas, I would definitely host events. As a person who's very friendly and positive minded, I would definitely ask people, what do you want? What do you want to see? How can we help you guys in order to advocate for your voices? With your voices, we can, although it's going to be difficult to ask every one of you guys, it's more the fact that it's not impossible. Nothing's impossible. The way I see it is we always, everything's becoming more technological. We can definitely use our Instagram, student council Instagram. We definitely can use my Instagram if need be, or we can definitely use some sort of website. We can definitely create some sort of website, since everything becomes so technological. We're becoming more a modern version of society. If we can use these types of tools, we can definitely voice everyone's opinions and how we can, how can we make John Jay a better place? How can we voice your opinions?
Good, thank you. I have another question. Many of the candidates emphasize the importance of communication. I feel it has been a broad term discussed. May they please elaborate types of communication systems, a self-reflection on their communication skills, and or more in-depth on this topic? Should I read that again? Okay. Many of the candidates emphasize the importance of communication. I feel it has been a broad term discussed. May they please elaborate types of communication systems, a self-reflection on their communication skills, and/or more in-depth on this topic. And we will start with the VP candidate, Yarrick.
When I think communication, I think of when anyone has any concern, or not just concern, just comments on anything. I feel like communication is direct contact with, if not me, another rep in council, if just anyone in council, because I feel like when it comes to communication, it should be talking directly, and which is why I don't disagree with the idea of surveys, but I'm more of a person that like enjoys like front to face conversation, or just talking in person, or like I said, events, because that's where you can meet the actual people, talk to them, see how they're doing, see what the concern is, why they're concerned about that. I feel like when it comes to that and methods of communication could also be like, the email, the Instagram, I just feel like in-person communication would be a lot better.
Okay, thank you. And then that question, same question will go to the presidential candidates, and this time we'll start with Jeff.
So to expand the communication process, the way I see it is using, again, our student council Instagram, look, at the end of the day, our student council room is always open. Nothing will be hidden. Nothing will be going against you guys. It's for you guys, because at the end of the day, we're going to be advocates for you. We're not going to be these, leaders that are dictators or anything like that. It's more the fact that we want to listen to you. We want to say, how can we make your communication process? How can we listen to you? How can we make it easier for you rather than make it more difficult? Because at the end of the day, we want to make your lives easier rather than harder.
Thank you. Aisha?
So there's a few things that I want to touch on. First of all, I know a lot of students aren't aware of this, but I just want to bring it up, is that the Slack is a platform that student council usually uses to communicate within each other. And in the past, I have seen that a lot of the materials are being posted very late, or not like in a timely manner, or it's not like a professional space. I would like to transform that space into a more professional space, so that students or the members don't just go on there and have conversations unrelated to student council. I want to keep it completely related to student council. And also saying what Jeff said about the student council website. I know that there is a student council like webpage associated with John Jay online, and usually based on like I said, my past experiences taking a look at those websites, I've seen that the information on those websites are usually never up to date, whether that's like representative positions or links to the agendas and things like that. So yeah, and then also like they said, like a self-reflection on your communication skills. So personally, I think I have a pretty open line of communication during business hours with
Time's up.
oh, sorry.
Thank you. So we have one more question. People seem to be concerned about your stress. So I'm going to combine these two questions. How will you balance life and school, work, and what do they do when they are stressed? What is the process to being de-stressed? How are you going to manage stress? And we'll start this one with, we'll start this one with the treasurer candidate.
Okay, so I realized that the last question it was
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
In that case, give us
But
your answer to that. And
Okay. So going back off to your question, so I feel like in terms of communication also comes reliance as well, because one can communicate very well, but it also depends on the rest of the team members as well. Knowing me and my e-board at the moment, like we have Slack, as Aisha mentioned, but we also have a private iMessage thing where just the e-board discusses things, because sometimes things just need to get through with all four of us just quickly. So I feel like quick and efficient ways of communication, but also professional forms of communication as well amongst e-board members, because that really makes a difference. And also reps as well, because they're the ones that actually create a lot of the events that happen within their cohorts. And it's important that they also communicate with e-board members as well, and e-board members communicate with them to help them with guidance. So to elaborate off of the meaning of communication is just even when we're not in the council office, being able outside to be able to assist each other as well, because 9 times out of 10, most of the time, everybody's not in at the same time because they have classes at different times. So that as well. And then
That's
you
okay.
asked
You don't have to answer the communication question right now. I'll come back to you.
the de-stressing.
We'll have the presidential candidates answer the stress question. Do I need to read it again? Okay, good. And let's start with Aisha this time.
All right. So in regards to stress, personally, like I said in the past, I'm going to keep reflecting back to my past roles because I believe that is the best experience or the way that I can answer these questions. So in the past, when I was vice president, I was also homeschooling both of my siblings. One of them was at the time 11, and the other one was in second grade, 6. So I was homeschooling both of them full time. I had to create their curriculum and everything. So it was very stressful, especially being an e-board member, but I believe I handled it very well. And one of the tactics that I did was to always reach out to not only my board members and let them know, hey, like there's something going on. I really can't deal with this right now. I just need like an hour, 2 hours, and I will get back to you. Or another thing that I also did was always have an open line of communication with the liaisons. So like Makita Jordan, who's here, Danielle Officer, who is here. I mean, no, she's not here, but she's here at John Jay. And the liaison at the time, which was Emily. So always having an open line of communication with everyone. And I feel like just letting people know that, hey, this is my limit and I can't go past this right now is very important.
Thank you. And Jeff?
So just to piggyback on Aisha's point of view, it's definitely good to take breaks. As a person who's doing a lot right now at this very moment, sophomore representative, working at student affairs, working at a part-time job outside of John Jay, planning trips at student council, such as a bowling trip for student council and escape room trip. All these are important because at the end of the day, I look for balance. I look for how can I make myself easier? How can I make my life easier for everyone else as well? I use communications by telling them, hey, I'm going through a lot. Hey, is it okay if I take this like 5 minutes to myself, 10 minutes to myself? Because again, breaks are important. It's okay to, focus on yourself for a minute because at the end of the day, you're going to be stressed. You're going to, go through these little things in life that are going to be obstacles. But it's okay because at the end of the day, as long as you're communicative, as long as you're balancing everything and with a positive mind, I hope to do that as president. I hope to advocate for that as, with all our John Jay students.
Thank you. And now we'll go to Savannah. Same question.
I feel like de-stressing is really important. Within council and also outside of council for the whole student body, as council representatives and e-board members, we are pressured with a lot of stuff. I'm not gonna lie, I came in not really knowing a lot of the stuff that I had to hold responsible for and do, but I came in wanting to tackle that challenge. And a part of that was having days where I felt really tired physically and mentally. But taking that time to confide in other members and letting them know, hey, I'm feeling this way, but also taking time to just de-stress on my own, listening to music, creating an environment which is welcoming and good for myself and for other people so they can have that same feeling of, hey, I can de-stress here and I don't have to go somewhere else to do that or seek ways and other things to get that type of distress as well. So I feel like that's important. And a big part of my platform as well was, creating connections with offices like counseling and offices accessibility services to let students know that there are resources on campus in which they can distress.
Thank you. And now Yarek.
I would like to piggyback off of what Aisha said. I understand that there will be a lot of stress that comes with the position of vice president, and just total of council, because I have been a freshman rep, now a sophomore rep for this last year, and there is a lot of responsibility that comes with that. Example, planning events with other fellow sophomore reps and other things like that. But I feel like de-stressing is a huge part, because if you bottle up too much stress, it will affect how you get your work done. And I feel like a constant just communication, like letting the other members know, hey, I'm going through a lot right now. I need a minute, or please give me like an extra hour to work on this. It's just, I feel like clear communication between members of council and yourself, it would be just the way that handle the stress in general, to make sure it doesn't bother anyone.
Thank you. And now we'll move on to our closing statements. All candidates will have 1 minute and 15 seconds for the closing statements. We will hear from our presidential candidates first, followed by a vice presidential candidate, and our treasurer will finish for us. The order goes, Aisha, would you do your closing statement, please?
Yes. Hi. So I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who participated in planning this and for giving us the opportunity to serve you, hopefully in the future, and giving me an opportunity to present all of my ideas. And I hope that a lot of that resonates with you guys. And also, I just want to let you know that my Instagram is open to anybody who has any future questions who is not present here. And I hope that, you guys feel that all the ideas and everything that I spoke to speak to you, and that you feel as though the changes that I hope to make align with yours. And like I said, if there's anything that you believe that needs to be brought to my attention, please let me know. Send me an email, send me a message. I will get back to you in a timely fashion, hopefully. So yeah, I just really do appreciate the opportunity to be here, and the opportunities in the past that I have been able to serve John Jay and John Jay students and advocate for us. And like our school's motto is, be a fierce advocate of justice, whether that is on campus or outside, whether that's for students or for administration and faculty. But yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. And Jeff?
So I just want to thank everyone for being here today. I really do appreciate y'all, everyone taking the time to be here, because life can be hectic. I understand that. And just to show that you want to be here, that you want to take the time out of your day just to listen to our voices, why we're running for our positions, shows that you care. And that's why I want to show that we care about you as well. With that being said, again, my email is open, my Instagram is open. I'm definitely a very communicative person, with showing that I care about you. I want to show that I want to listen to your voices. A person that shows that they're very communicative shows they're dedicated. Dedication, there's growth, and with growth, there's progress. And that's why I hope to become your student council president.
Thank you. And excuse me. Now, Yarrick?
Hi, I would also like to thank everyone for coming here. Thank you for the other candidates as well. It was lovely hearing from you guys. To add on to that, please, if there's anything that anyone wants to ask, I'm available at my Gmail. I also thank you for everyone for just, coming again. It means a lot to me. Also, just reach out. Like, if you see me walk in the halls, I am really approachable. You can come, hey, I have this question. I want to ask you about this. I won't be scared. If I can't help you, I will direct you to someone that can help you. Thank you, everyone, again, for being here.
Thank you. And Savannah?
I'd like to thank everyone, as everybody gave their thanks as well, for just being here, being present, being able to hear the reasons why we love to contribute to the community, either if some of us get elected or some of us don't, or whatever happens. The fact that we're all here and we want to make a difference and want to make a change is really important. And yeah, so I'm running for re-election for treasurer, and it'd be really great if you guys will vote for me. I'm here just to listen to you guys, create a community in which I feel was kind of lost due to COVID and just, a lot of things happening in our lives. So create that community, be fierce advocates for justice, because that's what the school is, and just continue to reach our goals all together collectively as a community and strive for greatness. Thank you.
Thank you. And we just want to thank you all for being here, both the candidates and the audience members. And we want to remind you that there's another debate tomorrow during community hour. So with that, we say, may the best person win, and thank you. See you tomorrow, probably.
Bye.